who had brain cancer and who was kidnapped, assaulted, battered, abused, and almost murdered by the Syracuse Police. This has been ongoing. It has not stopped. Um, I am on here today to give updates and also share some information that I've learned as a result of my plight. Um, this requires some listening. In the event that you have some hardships with understanding what I'm saying, then it would be better for you to contact me by email, and that way I can better express and explain in the event I'm able to. Okay, time is of essence. Contacting me requires identifying yourself. Like, I identify myself as Rochelle Moretta Brooks, aka Rochelle Brooks, Rochelle Coleman, Rochelle Brooks Nibbs. I've been married twice. So today is January 12th, 2025. And I still have sole custody of my kids in receipt of child support. My kids have not been returned as ordered, so they are in default. I've been suffering retaliation, gross retaliation. Okay. I mean, super, super, super gross retaliation. All right. So I am trying to do this in a manner, get my kids back without posing no threat to them or I. So that's the goal. Nobody wants to be getting their kids and the police shoot out the house. Where I am now located, the police have been hiring people trying to assassinate me. I couldn't even properly participate with the election, 2024 election, because of the deadly harassment that I was receiving. Nor was my vote counted. Wow. So that's one issue. Now bringing it back home to my children, which will always be the focus point. If you contact me, it should be for areas that I'm familiar with. The reason why I'm familiar with these issues is because I've gone through this shit, or I've helped somebody or had some exposure to it by trying to help somebody overcome an issue. That's why I consider myself to be a teacher, an advocate, and I'm always going to be a mom. So Faith, Hope, Eduardo, I love you. All my kids were kidnapped. My son's father kidnapped my son. And upon his death, he apologized. He apologized previously too. I think I was like 27, but never would give me my son back to custody. He had no interest in my son. But on his deathbed, he apologized again and said he was going to fix it. But he met his demise before any, just telling our son what he did was supposed to be the fixture in my mind. Like, yeah. But my son was old enough after a while to kind of, but there was other stuff going on. So that's my son, who is now grown, super grown. Okay. So now I have two daughters who were kidnapped because I sent my daughter to school. She was hurt and missing at school. So I'm asking the school and the teachers, what's going on? Where's my baby? And I've never had no child come up missing before. So this was new. It's not like my son's father, and then the school district was racist because I stayed near a military base and on a military base, but I divorced and moved separately. So they were being racist to my son. So I showed the school picture. I showed the Santa Claus activity that we did. My son and I painted Santa Claus, colored Santa Claus, African colors, and the school got upset. The teacher would not accept it in I think it was Calcium School District. They would not let him hang up his picture. Right? Schools are supposed to be diverse, so you paint and color how you want. But they wanted Santa Claus to look like Santa Claus, like how they portray it to be. White beard, red hat, and I didn't do it that way. I made sure Santa Claus had a black beard. I forgot how color. I think he had a black beard. It was dope. And they said, So this kept going on for like maybe a week, 10 days, something like. It was like every day for it was like at least 2 weeks. And I'm like, what the hell? And my son kept coming home like, Mom, they don't like it. They don't want that. And they throw it, and he's like frustrated. And I'm like, what is going on? So then I called the school, like, what is going on? No, matter of fact, they did the project without me knowing, okay? Because I was active. I was I pop up to the school in a minute. So they did the activity, but they ended up, it was done. So he comes home with his book bag, and I saw our Santa Claus back in the bag. And then I saw a white Santa Claus. So I said, what the heck? So, okay, that happened. So now my son comes home, scratching himself, crying, telling me that they don't like him. They don't like me. He's little as heck. My son, like 3, 4, he's preschool. And his birthday is, in June. So it's just his birth. So he's like 4. He was in preschool. So he was in there early. 3.5, 4. Okay. And they're being mean to my only son at the time, my only child in the world. And my baby is crying, bawling. And he's like, they don't like me. And he scratched his skin saying he wanted to be white. Oh, look, do you see me? I went off. Okay. Young Rochelle went off. Okay. I'm not even 21 at this time. Hold on. I was 21. I just probably freshly got 21. I went off. Went off, okay? Went off. And I didn't curse. I just wanted to know what was going on, and I wanted answers, and I wasn't playing, So then they're trying to call, no. There was one more incident. That happened. I'm going off. I'm trying to get an investigation as to why you didn't allow Santa Claus the way we saw it on the wall to look like us. Why was it an issue? Okay, so that happened. Then we found out I start noticing that it was some kind of racial issue. So I'm like, how many other kids that look like him is in this school? We have another little girl that's African American. One African, that's it. And I said, is she in the same class? No, you keep them separate. So I was like, wait, the same age and everything. They could have been, but okay, they kept them separate. So okay, that was another flag. I thought that was crazy. So you have nobody to bond with, But okay, no problem. All right, that's all right. So now, that happens. So then my son was playing with some kids, and he was crying. It's the end of the day. He's crying. He's playing. He's the only child. Okay, the only child in my household. And he's crying because he wants to play with his friends. Do you know these people called CPS? And he's crying. And the lady, the principal, tells me to spank my son. Yeah, because it happened twice. The first time they were calling, inquiring, like, what's going on with your son? He's cried about not wanting to come home. I'm like, I said, what was he doing before this happened? Oh, he's playing with his friends. Okay, so he's playing with his friends. He doesn't want to come home. It's not a child in America or nowhere that doesn't do that shit. So I don't know why they even bothered me with that. So I was like, okay, so it happened a couple of times. I want to say probably one more time before I removed him from the school. So now the school comes again, and the principal calls me saying I need to whoop my son. Now she's on the phone. She tells me to stay on the phone with her and whoop him now. I want you to whoop him. I said, I'm not whooping my son. Why would I whoop my son? Why would I whoop my child? Why would I whoop him? And why would this white lady tell me to whoop my son? But this white lady telling me to whoop my child. I did not whoop my child. So she calls CPS, and somebody's at my door talking about my child again. And I got my son up out of that school and took him back to Syracuse, New York, where we were, and sent him to Dr. Weeks Elementary. The teacher from Calcium, her name was, I got Miss Murphy, I believe her name was. I got to look at his picture, school picture. I still have it. I have my evidence from that far. My son is now 28 years old. Okay. And the teacher, Miss Murphy, followed my son to his school in Syracuse. Okay. Went to the Syracuse school, started talking about my child, saying shit, trying to start some shit. So now here I go having an issue with the Syracuse school, which didn't make any sense. And I hope this acts as some kind of warning, not even a warning, but just some kind of awareness to teachers and to people that are in working professions that it's not always wise to just take gossip and travel with it. But this white lady traveled all the way to Syracuse, New York to harass my only son, to defame him and I. I brought my child to another school, removed him out of a school that did not receive him well because he wasn't their race, okay, and liking. I got my child up out of there. That's what anybody with some sense would do. I brought him to the school that I attended, and everything should have been cool. But no, she brought her goofy ass down to Syracuse, New York, fucking with my child. My son comes home and he's like, Mom, Mrs. Murphy was there. I said, what the hell? So now I'm complaining and trying to figure out what to do. Okay. Now I'm divorcing, separated, not divorced yet. I don't know. Maybe I should have mended the relationship just to get the military back. And even though I still had it, but not like, they know we were divorcing and I wasn't get back with his dusty ass. But I don't know. Older Rochelle now would have told younger Rochelle then, fuck that. Get JAG, get the military on these motherfuckers' asses. I didn't know anything. No law, no nothing what I know now. And I can still address it because they hurt my child on school property. They badgered, harassed, defamed on school property. And my son was a protected class, military affiliated, and had no reason dealing with that. And then I won the case to see, because they started CPS cases, which when the lady came to Syracuse, they tried to resurrect and start some shit with CPS here. So I handled it, brought my evidence. I showed them the school picture with my son being the only black child. They had his ass right in the middle. Okay. He had his head down. The teacher was looking at him. And I'm like, what is this bitch looking at my son like that? But okay. You don't know what's going on. And he had his head down. And he's in there. So now we have that. That's exhibit A. That's exhibit B. Exhibit A was the Santa Claus, the cause of all this shit. We had 2 Santa Claus in my possession. I had a whole bunch of papers, okay? Back and forth, letters, all this, little stuff. And here go the Santa Clauses. So now I said, here's our Santa Clauses, and here's the school Santa Claus that they hung up and took pictures of. And then gave it back. They were better off throwing it away. You're going to be racist. Case was dismissed. And, and they didn't have no jurisdiction. See, I didn't know all this being young. You know what I'm saying? I'm 21, 19, 21, something like that. I didn't know any of this. My son was 3, so 18. I had to be going on 21. You had to be going on 21. So I had to be 20. 19 to 20. And I didn't know. So the lack of knowledge, but I won still, But the lawyer I had tried to make me sleep with him. And I wouldn't. So then I wanted to go tell the judge what he tried to do. Judge Martha Walsh Hood and the lawyer, the black male lawyer, went in there first. They wouldn't let me hear or wouldn't let me talk. And then they rescheduled the meeting or adjourned it. So that he could cut his eyes and I cut my eyes at his motherfucking ass. So then all of a sudden, the other lawyers go in, and I don't know what happened, what they said. They come out, and then here come the kid's law guardian, Arlene Bradshaw, and then she's standing there looking stupid, and then she walks her goofy ass up to me, yelling, talking about, she introduces herself, hi, I'm such and such, and I said, hello. And then she said, yeah, you left your son with a stranger? Yelling in the fucking courtroom like that. And I said, what the hell? So I'm like, what the fuck is this bitch talking about? What are you talking? I left him with his father. What is this about? We're here from one thing, you talk about a whole nother thing. So now she's trying to make a claim against me. Arlene Bradshaw. Me not knowing, I denied it. And I told her, get the fuck away from me. What are you doing? Lady, bye. I'm not talking to you. I'll wait till we get in the courtroom. So I said that. I'll wait till we get in the courtroom. You ain't got to talk to me no more. Because I'm still in my youth. I'm trying not to hop up because she walking up and she's over me. Bitch, you better move. You better move. Talking to me like you stupid. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to stop talking and I'm going to wait to talk to the judge. I'm not talking, right? But I believe to be a judge. Martha Walsh Hood was not a judge. It's a fake courtroom. We go in there and we get ourselves hurt and they do shit like that because it's a fake ass courtroom. I go in there, they adjourned it. I wasn't even able to go. The guards giving me paper telling me to come back on this date. Okay? So they had an ex parte hearing without me there. And just decided to adjourn it. No, matter of fact, and then we go back, then they dismissed it. Because they couldn't. It was dismissed. So now my son's growing, getting bigger. His father, I gave joint custody to. He kidnapped my son. right when I was leaving up there, up north. And I told his father that I was moving because I ended up meeting, I ended up getting married. I got divorced. I paid this lawyer. And me and my ex-husband went half with this lawyer. I found that will divorce us since we didn't have no kids within a month. Once we paid him. Got that settled, done. Got married right soon after. Okay. Called my son's father. Told him that I was moving. And I guess that made him feel some kind of way. I dropped my son off at per the order for the Christmas holiday, half that time, and then on Christmas Day, give him back. So I did half of the Christmas Day or whatever. He decides not to return my child. I came from Ohio to Syracuse, and they won't give me my child. I'm outside in the cold. I'm sitting there waiting for my child. It's not coming, and I'm looking at the room, and I'm like, I bet you my son is in that room. I wanted to break the window down and go in that motherfucking house and get my baby. But I knew that was going to be a disaster. And even if I would have got my son, I've been going to jail, and there'd still be an issue. So I try to do it the right way. I go to the court. I filed the papers. I did the best I could. Do you know the lawyer I had, or somebody, I think it was the lawyer I had, her name was Barker. Barker? They wrote that I said I didn't want to prosecute. Why would I call the police I called the police to try to get my child. Why would I call the police, go to court, and somebody say that I didn't want to prosecute? That didn't make any sense. That's really crazy. I think I found those papers. They didn't give me none of that shit. I didn't get those papers released until like 2023. I didn't find it out to 2023, 22. What they said, and my son is grown. So the only thing I can do now is for the deprivation of my child and all the fake files that they wrote. You'll never hear me say none of that shit that they said that was said. I never said that. I wasn't even there. To get testimony. And any lawyer that called himself a parent in my absence lied. Okay. I was never said that. Didn't make any sense. So I kept trying to get my child. I kept filing papers, and Martha Washhood kept rejecting, denying for no reason. And now all I can do now is do appeals now that I know, and sue her and ask for her arrest, removal, and for her to be sanctioned and to never work in a public or any kind of capacity again, because she is dangerous. She was mad because I wouldn't sleep with her homeboy and I wouldn't play ball. I wasn't going to sleep with her or that black lawyer or Arlene Brad, none of them bitches or bitch ass motherfuckers. I wasn't going to sleep with y'all. So now you sit here and wait. I win the case, right? That's resolved, right? Now I'm trying to get my son into custody the way it was. So now the judge makes me pay child support, even though my son was kidnapped. Mm-hmm. So now I'm paying child support. Okay. $50 a month, $500 a year. And they had a little arrears on me too. So, okay. My son's father kidnapped my child for $50 a month. And then his son's grandmother only had an interest in my child because he had an IEP and he had a speech impediment and he was on the spectrum a little bit. So I took him to Social Security to get him I took him to like this early intervention to see what was going on. And just to make sure. And when I told his grandmother, because I'm thinking, when you have kids, you tell the the immediate family that's part of the care team or the people that's there, as soon as I told her that he would be receiving Social Security, she then took an interest. She had no interest in my son other than like, hi, every now and again. She gave me hell. I'm going to school. She would make it hard for me to get to school. by trying to tell me I'm 2 minutes late. I'm walking on foot with heels with a medical bag trying to go to school to become a medical assistant. And she was just, it was horrible. And I'm talking to my son's father about me getting in the program, and she overheard me saying that the county approved me for daycare. So then she says, why would you pay some stranger to watch my grandbaby when I could watch him? I do daycare anyway. I can watch. If I'm going to watch Charlie kids, why wouldn't I watch my grandson? So I'm like, okay. Me and this bitch didn't get along at all. Never. Okay. But I was like, okay, man, listen, I found out when my son, 15 and a half, my baby was less than a week from being 16. Key phrase, 16 years of age, okay? I was on my own at 16 in my own house, officially on paper, okay? So I know from firsthand experience, when your child turns 16, shit can change real quick, you know? So I'm asking my son, trying to question what his cousin just told me, okay? This is blood cousin telling me what his grandmother was doing to him. Okay? He gave me the whole story, the whole rundown. Detail as fuck. And not only that, he said his grandmother, his aunt, used to do that shit to him. She used to sit here and sleep and make the men in the house fuck her or do what she wanted to, you know. Piece of shit. And you know, I'm young when I met her. I'm 16. And she couldn't stand me. I look cutie. And she was grown, fucking with me. We got into a whole altercation and everything. And I thought she would do right by my son, but instead she's a fucking predator. So that was my first hand knowledge of a female predator. I don't ever want to be, you know, some people get power or feel they got power, like all the men in your family need somewhere to stay. Right? And you feel like you a god. Like, yeah, do what I say. You know, that's how she was. And we used to, you know, people in the family like, damn, why she ain't got no boyfriend? What the fuck going on with her? And then I asked her one day, I don't know, I had a boyfriend before. I did. I went on a date. And that's some shit she told me. She said, yeah. But I thought maybe she was just in love with my son's father's father. My son's grandfather. But he had a white girl, was married, lived his life, owned a dojo, living his fucking life. So I don't know. So I found out that she was molesting my son. And you know, I called the police. I called Jerry Springer. I called Steve Wilkos. I called the news because it was in June, which was Child Abuse Awareness Month. And my son was too big to make him, you know, sit down so the doctors can examine if he's a virgin or not. You know what I mean? He's too big, nigga towered me. And I'm like, God damn it, boy, you know, you couldn't make him. You can't make him. You know what I mean? So I was never going to get answers because I had found out and I had been told too late. There's no way I would have ever thought a woman would be, you know, or anybody, you know what I mean? It was just, what? Watch your kids. So that was the story of my son. Hopefully I've explained it. Well, no, I got to finish this part. I was questioning my son about it. I was trying to see if I can make him go get a test, and he was too big. And he'd been knocked out one of them damn doctors trying to touch his, you know. And I did take him to a medical appointment, and she tried, and he was not going for the shit. So it couldn't be done. We tried. Okay. So then I tried to sit down and talk to him because I never had no experience of no male child abuse with a woman before, or anybody. You know what I'm saying? So try to ask my child, you know, did grandma? So I asked him first because I had called CPS and I, you know, was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. So I'm asking because now he's over here and I ain't saying nothing and he ain't saying nothing. So I'm like, anything happening at school? No. The whole time his grandmother bought him an additional phone than what I got him and was listening on that phone. Okay. Everything I said, everything, and, you know, so I'm like, what the hell? So I found out after the little outbreak. So this is the part where the outbreak comes up with my son showing his ass because I'm asking him about his grandmother and if there was any kind of an inappropriate activity. Okay. So I'm like, Eduardo, did anybody speak to you? And he's just playing the computer, ain't talking, ain't saying shit. And I'm like, did anybody speak to you at school today? No. So now I get on the fucking phone. I call CPS. I call the worker director. But like, bitch, I said, you didn't talk to my child? She said, yeah, I talked. I went off. I said, I'm going to sue you. I don't know what the fuck I said. But I was like, bitch, you supposed to check my son just like you would a girl. So I'm going on. And she's like, I did talk to your son. He had this, that, and these kind of shoes on. When I tell you, she read my son left and right. So I looked him up and down like, nigga. So then I'm on the phone with the lady. I said, Eduardo, why did you not tell me you spoke to the lady? Why did you lie about not speaking to the lady? And then he shows me the phone where his grandmother was on. Granny, she told me not to. What? So she's on the fucking phone. So I go in there to try to get the phone to try to ask Sandra, what the fuck is she? So he takes the phone apart. He just handles the fucking phone. Okay? So now I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What is going on? And like, I feel, this is like another fucking level of a world. I didn't understand what was going on. So now my son is in an awkward situation. Like, why are you not telling me? I said, Eduardo, it is okay. She has this big bed that she's proud of, his grandmother. She has a big bed that she's so proud of. This big, huge bed, right? So I'm with a whole bunch of videos. She done stole my videos and she's just sucker shit. But I didn't want to fuck her up or fight because it don't look right in front of my son. I'm just like, fuck it, I'm going to take that, I'll buy more. It was just so much stuff going on with her. She's like an annoying ass sibling cousin. She was just, but all right. So I'm asking my son. He acting like he didn't want to really talk. So I was like, I was kind of into the Bible and the church. I was going to church, attending the church. And I thought of the story of Samson, and I said something to the effect like, understand you're bigger and stuff like that, but God humbles the big, the mighty, the strong. You cannot go around disrespecting your mother. If I'm asking you a question, you have to answer it. I just want to know if somebody, is touching you, so I know I'm doing my job. And I asked him, I said, do you understand me? And he said, no. I said, oh my God, my baby talking shit, okay? So I'm like, I said something else, Samson-y or some shit, and just was like, okay, fine, fuck it. I did, what I'm saying? Nothing else I can do. I can't get there's nothing I can do. I can't, you know what I mean? So I was walking out the room, and then he jumps up from the chair from in front of the computer and says, shut the fuck up, and hits me on the back of, I want to say, my right shoulder. So I understand he has a disability and it's cognitive, okay? So I want everybody to understand it's cognitive and, all kinds of stuff going on, embarrassment. And if he would have just said no, even if he was lying, or if he would have said yes, and if he was telling the truth, I just needed to know, mommy just needed to know. I could not just leave him unprotected. You know what I'm saying? Or making him feel like he's not unprotected, because that wasn't normal business for her to be sleeping with my son. All right. So we get to altercation. I didn't know whether or not I should put my hands or get something to whop his little ass, because he's taller than me. And I'm sitting here, and now we done had a jumping in the air match. He yelling, and I'm yelling, "You a killer? You trying to be a killer? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, are you stupid?" So I grabbed his hands, and he couldn't get out of the lot. Like, are you stupid, boy? I didn't call him stupid, but I'm just looking like, are you like the head to the side? Like, are you crazy? Are you stupid? Type of shit. Like, what is wrong with you? All you had to do was say no, yes, something. Something. Oh my God. So we there. So now I let him go. He's at the wall now and he's breathing hard. And I can tell that my son had lost his mind for a second, because he had came back and his eyes was like, oh my motherfucking God. Like, his eyes came back, and I saw that he came back, and he says, "You called me a bitch." And I said, "What?" And it's not funny. But I can only laugh because now the shock is funny. The way I'm like, because the way he's like, "You call me a bitch," and I was like, "What?" So they're like, and my daughter, I had now when this happened with my daughter. Now this is some time now. I'd had a daughter. My daughter Faith was present during this incident, but she was too young, and I know she don't remember it. So where he's panting. He's looking around and he's like, his face looked like, oh shit, what? No, the fuck, I didn't just put my hands on mama. So he looked shocked. So I guess he said, something about me calling him a bitch. Why would I call him? I'm like, what the fuck, bitch? What? I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? So I was like, what the fuck is So he started looking around the room on the floor, looking around, and then he looked at my daughter. I'm looking at him, looking at my daughter, like, what the fuck is you about to do? So I'm like, oh, hell no. Let me call the police. I don't know what this fuck this boy tripping, but I know when I got pregnant with my daughter, his father, his grandmother, they showed their ass. My son was 14 when I got pregnant with my first daughter. My son's father had other kids, okay? Other relationships, partying, living his fucking life. Why now, in 2008, are you upset about me having a baby or being pregnant? Oh, he showed his ass. When I say he showed his mouth, he showed his ass. So I thought that was crazy. But his grandmother, he told me, his grandmother told me, go sit down, Peanut, that he's not babysitting my daughter. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, just talk. They was talking buku shit, okay, baby? So I don't know what that's about. So when I saw him looking at his sister, like I don't know. His behavior with her normally was appropriate. He's always kind of, what do I call my son's behavior during that time? He's always been a little reserved, but he like low key lit when my back is turned. Like he'll do dances around my nephews, his cousins, and be lit up. But then I turn around, he like act like all cool. So he was very fun loving. He just played the reserve role a lot, and he's a mixture to me of a little science kid or a gamer kid, little Sheldon Lee. You know what I'm saying? And very loving, sweet little young man. That's my baby. You hear me? That's my poppers. That's my baby. And I don't have nothing else to say about that other than that I love him. All is forgiven. My hands will forever be extended to you, son. And you have a mother. You always had a mother. He was older when all of, you know what I'm saying? And that was the only incident we ever had where, I mean, that was crazy. I saw him shortly after. I jumped out the car with my mother and tried to grab my baby and hug him. He covered his face and ran almost into the traffic. And I grabbed him, pulled him back in, and I could not believe how he ran from me into the traffic, okay? Covering his face. You would rather, I don't think he consciously did it. He was just running. He was embarrassed. And he covered his face and he was running up Fayette and Townsend. And Townsend is really active during that time. Near downtown area. And he almost got hit by cars coming left and, right, and, both with lanes going, fully going. I grabbed my child. I couldn't believe what I almost would have seen if I didn't have called him in time. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm like, let me back up a little bit. I don't want him to act out again. I don't want him to, go outside himself. It was okay. It's not okay what happened to you, but it was okay. I love you. I don't know. I don't have no words for how I feel about my son. I just love him. And I'm sorry that I would have never thought. Like, I don't even know what age that, I don't know. I didn't know how to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. We were always usually together other than the weekends when the joint custody. So I know it happened during that time. I'm sorry. And if it was just him being embarrassed and didn't know, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure I asked my child if somebody touched him. So make it a custom in your family where you talking to your kids. If you can afford it, get cameras. Okay. So this is the story of my firstborn, Eduardo, and then leading into my second. So I'm gonna stop here and do another section when I can about, faith. My first daughter, but my second child, Faith. But Eduardo, he was an awesome baby. He's still my baby. I love him. I see him online, and I crack jokes about when people say certain shit that I know is not true. And I'm like, I saw him on one of his sites and he was talking about his disability and stuff like that. And that he was born in a hospital with a mother. And I'm looking like, what? You were breastfed, carried all the time. You were bigger than, are you serious, boy? All the pictures of you don't go say, what? His newborn pictures in the hospital. He had a whole fit on, okay? He had the Nikes. Are you serious? I had bought some dope ass, like, boy, bye. But I guess that's what would happen when somebody who is trying to feel superior, his grandmother, I'm talking about this bitch right now, okay? And I saw her in 2023 or 2024. I've been poisoned and medically maltreated and legally maltreated. So I've just been going through shit. They're trying to keep me occupied so I can't finish certain things, and financial abuse. So I was asking for the public's help, because it ain't right. And then, the cards are stacked. The decks are stacked. So they are organized. You think a doctor asks you about who's in your house, your family composition for a reason? For just random shit? No, they ask you that to see if they would possibly get away with fucking you up or killing you. You have any family? No, I don't have anybody. Oh, really? Okay. So they mark you. But if you start naming relatives and church folks and political and blah, 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 they pay attention to not trying to fuck you up. Mostly. So that's what was going on with my first son. And I'm leaving this record for my children so they have an understanding of what was going on. All my kids were breastfed. During me being breastfed mother, I was taking heartburn medicine. Okay. The medicine that they gave me was poisonous. Okay, toxic. All three of my kids had a mother that didn't smoke, drink, no drugs, nothing. So I believe my son and daughters suffered some injuries as a result. And that's henceforth why he has his Asperger's. And if Eduardo, when you hear this, or if you hear this, you need to go to a district court, get a pro se application, or call a lawyer and get paid for your injuries. Okay, baby? Go get the medical records. From Krause Hospital. Also, Syracuse Community Health Center. Okay. Get your educational records. Okay. Your disability records. And go compile all that up, make copies for yourself, and get into that courtroom and let them know that you want payment or stipulated settlement. Okay. I am here to help you in any which way I can. I love you. I'm sorry for everything that you went through. I've always loved you, baby. And I'm sorry that when you went over to your grandmother's house, she was isolated in the room and shit, unless she wanted you to do something for her, to her, or run a fucking errand. But shit, we went outside. We went to the arcade. We hung out. Hey, that's my baby, y'all. Y'all understand. But all right. That's Eduardo. Trying to think of what else. When my son's father got sole custody and I got, it was like we both had joint custody, but it was flipped to where he just had sole. Even though he kidnapped him. That's crazy. So I was the daddy, basically. So I had got my son, because I really didn't understand it. I was, so I was taking my son, trying to get him into another school on the north side where it was bilingual. His father and grandmother was so ignorant. They took him out of a good school just to spite me. Because I just got married. So all this, kidnapping shit was new. So I'm just used to doing what I'm doing to get him in a better school. Since Dr. Weeks is lying and shit. I took him to, I forgot the name of the damn school, but it was bilingual. And the teacher was so nice. We got along. I said, okay, my son gonna go here with you. Hell yeah, gonna learn these languages. He took him out to school and sent him to another fucking school. And it was just crazy. And then he uses, I got sole custody. I'm looking at my son's father. You ain't never participated in your son's at all. Nothing. Now you and your mother now wanna, you know what I mean? And I remember when me and his grandmother got into our first little altercation over my child. She grabbed my child and I was taking him because I stopped going to CCBI because she was being funny about me coming in the house. When I tell you 3 minutes getting up the stairs with high heels on, because CCBI required you be in full uniform with a big ass bag with medical books and shit. Yo, I'm walking the hills all the way from downtown, busting my ass to get out of school and get here. And you're supposed to have time to study these medical things. Shit, I ain't get nothing. I'm trying to breastfeed, pump milk, cook. His father was not helping, okay? So it was just stressful. He barely wanted to fucking help. That's what's crazy. Of all times to be selfish. So he went out, hung out with Jovan, black ass, found some white girls, some other girls, some middle girls, anything, and started cheating. So that was it. You cheat, I left. What's the issue? He was having fun too, so I don't understand. So, son, just so you know what was going on. Then his grandmother talked shit about me getting mad at my son's father. We got into it because he was cheating, right? I find out, guess how? He comes back home with something he didn't have when he left. So now I'm mad. So I get mad. I'm crying. I'm upset. Bitch, I'm breastfeeding my child. You kissing on me. You gay. You know what I mean? I'm worried about everybody, everything. So I get mad. He's sitting there looking blank faced. And I did do something. I spit on him. And I'm not happy about that. But I was angry. And I was mad as fuck. And I apologized. And it never happened again. Never happened again. And his grandmother talks about that. Like, bitch, you're not talking about fucking my child, though. Okay? But that's what she was mad about. And we got into an argument one more time when we got physical. Okay? And his family, I got to give them their props because they're the realest. I'm telling you, you ain't gonna find too many family members that'll let you fight their peoples and don't jump you. But they really didn't like her. You know what I'm saying? So she must have been really touching a lot of the family members where they were like, yeah, get her. My little self, I was like, 120, something like that. This is a big bitch running at me in the kitchen in the corner type shit. And the dad, Mr. Young and shit, and Miss Sherman, everybody let it go down. So we got into altercation and shit. And, she's bigger than me. So I picked up a goddamn cast skillet palm and whopped her motherfucking ass. And then Gregory, her brother, everybody breaking it up. And then she was mad and yelling and shit about me hitting her and shit with the pot. Bitch, you hit me, your big ass, need to go sit down. You know what I'm saying? So she get mad, screaming. So then she rips my hair off. Then she takes the pen and hit me in the fucking shoulder because Gregory, like, we both dodging shit now. And she pulls the fucking wig up because I'm learning how to put ponytails in, like this shit here. And she pulls it out. So Gregory is holding me, everybody in between us, and they laugh. And it was funny. And my son's father finally comes home from running the streets. And she like, yeah, he here, all this shit with her high-pitched ass voice at that time. So he come, and I'm trying to grab my son, and she won't let go of my child. I said, bitch, let go of my motherfucking baby. What is you doing? So we got, like, my son, I'm grabbing my baby by his arm, underneath his arm to grab him and take him home. Like, bitch, you ain't gonna ever see my son no more, right? This bitch grabs my child in the ear. And then she kind of like, oh shit, what the fuck is wrong with you? So that's what led to the fight because my son's father come and I'm trying to tell him what the fuck she just did. And she tried to tell him to come, you know what I mean? And he wasn't good for, that was a disaster. I mean, you know what I mean? I wish I would have never gave her the luxury to be around my child. But when my son's father had his visitations, he would drop my child over there. You understand? And would not come back till it was time to drop him off damn near. You know, because he had girlfriends with cribs and he would stay over their houses or would stay out all night, whatever, you know. And she would call me asking me, is he over there? Because take me this. She would call him Tank. Take me this. Take me. Bitch, what is you calling me for? You want me to come get my child? No. Okay, there's this, what the fuck? You know, because legally, I couldn't. That white judge told me if I violate this order, he's going to arrest me. That white man, you know, was dead ass serious. And see, I didn't know what I knew now. But even him saying that to me is a crime. So I gotta go through all these records and go through all this shit and go after all these fucking people. And I am. If God keep the air in my body and let me, you know, this, because I just had all kind. I mean, I just had a whole horrible hospital stay, y'all. Horrible. I died. I came back, and I'm here. So, what else? That's Eduardo. I think that's everything I can think of. My son was he is sweet, beautiful. He's grown. And I just wish him the best. He's working. And his father just passed 2024. And I thought I was going to be able to speak to my son to give him the news of his father's death. But I don't know. I called his job or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't able to speak to my son and hear his voice. But I did speak to his father. And, you know, everything is where it is. I have no hard feelings, but the length of time that it took, like, I don't understand how people can be the cheater, the bad person, the neglectful parent, all this other shit you want to call it. And I'm breaking my neck and I'm younger than you trying to do shit. You know what I mean? Trying to keep the household together and you're sitting back. I don't know. So I did the best I could. I can't do anything but tell you the truth, son. The records are there. One more incident that I didn't like that I did. I went to the court trying to stop the child support, right? So I told the court that my son does it because there's a law stating when your child doesn't want to be under your rule or doesn't want to listen to you, that you can basically like emancipate them. And I didn't know what else to do. And I'm sorry that I even put in just because that was the only way that I knew at that time to stop the child support because I didn't have it at all. I'm sitting up here homeless because I got into it with my ex-husband and he got down to Ohio and became immediately abusive. Okay. When I say immediately, we wasn't down there 24 hours. We leave New York. Now you want to be abusive. Okay. Okay. All right. So, you know, it's wintertime, December, and I'm being abused. I done sold and gave all my shit away, trying to move, because he said we had housing, and I tried to, everything was on me. You know what I'm saying? And as far as the financials, and that was crazy. I should have stayed in that little ass apartment. It was $300 and something or $300. I had a car, and was making payments and shit. I should have stayed where I was. And I didn't know church or God. I just was like, I'm gonna follow behind Mary and Joseph. Let me, go with my husband. No, shouldn't have did it. You know what I'm saying? Listen to that voice, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. But I tried, and he immediately it felt like he was trying to steal my car. I'm in the U-Haul and he's driving off of my car and I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know I had a tumor. I didn't know I had all these issues and shit. And it was crazy. But we get there, abuse. I'm still being abused, still trying to drive, get up here to see my son. I'm in court in Ohio by the phone telling the judge I don't have any money right now. I just, you know what I'm saying? And that white man didn't give a fuck. They would get revenge on every woman that made them pay child support. That shouldn't be, all this stuff was biased and was corrupt. It was never a courtroom, So this story was of Eduardo, but I want you guys to understand that the guys that's been going through this shit, or the women, or what, the parents in general, I didn't do it. I didn't ask to go through the stuff I went through. Neither did you. But being that I'm here now and I've learned through going through this mud, And I just try to share how I got out of it, how I got through it. And now that I went through it, hopefully me sharing with you, it'll prevent you from going through it. Or if you go through it, it won't be so long and drawn out. I don't want you to go through something so long. That man kept my child, my son, just like my daughters, they're trying to make my kids age out. I do realize that a mother or a parent that really cares for their child wants them to live. My son, to my knowledge, wasn't in any deadly danger. I love the white school up there. I don't know, but I know they were being very mean to him. So maybe he could have been, but he was too young to express it to me. And that's why I was trying my best to get on their ass and ask them to investigate and stuff. But I removed him out of there. I got him out of there. Like, fuck that. So I did the appropriate steps as I saw fit. Now with my daughters, this is different. I don't know. But they've been in danger. So every time I try to come closer, they get dangerous with me, with them, So I don't want them to be in any harm's way. So that requires me to back up until they turn grown. So be it. But I'm going to definitely get to the courthouse to address this because I filed a piece of paper 2022 and it hasn't been on the docket. So I have to now file a complaint with the chief courts, judges and clerks about the clerks hindering my cases because every time I file something, the clerks are doing a Bible lyrics on me, Bible verse. She's a frequent litigator. Bitch, what you mean? I'm a victim. Fuck you talking about? What are you doing an announcement? And you won't let me go into the fucking court and I have a right to be heard. So it's a lot of that going on. So when they first and second and third time doing it, I didn't know. I don't understand. I did everything, got filed, I asked for fee waivers, did everything to do. Now I got a clerk stopping me. So now I got to reason with myself, what the fuck this clerk is getting in my way. And I'm doing the best I can. And see, that's the issue with the courthouse. They should be required to have everything on them fucking walls. This is how a court case goes. Step one, step here, all the forms right here. I don't worry about your websites. It should be accessible because they'll tell you, you got to pay us. No, we shouldn't even need forms at this point. Everything should be on, like, here's a tablet, go ahead and file your case. Type it in or speak it in. You know what I mean? Go into a private room, shut the door, go ahead and talk into the, something. We got to get better because they're too corrupt. But that is the story of Eduardo and going into the story of faith. I had my son got pregnant at 17, had him at 18. And he was preschool when his father kidnapped him. Okay. To do. Thank you so much. Bye. Let me end.